Okay, so this is my Infernity deck list. 3 Archfiend, 3 Necromancer, 2 Avenger, 1 Mirage, 1 General, 3 Griffer, and 1 Stygian Street Patrol. 1 Launcher, 1 Reborn, 3 Zero Max, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Rota, 3 MST, 2 Fiendish Chains, 3 Infernity Inferno, 3 Infernity Barrier, 3 Infernity Break, 3 Compulsory, 2 Warning, and 1 Judgment. Alright. As far as the monster lineup is concerned, Infernity don't really have a lot of room, for tech choices and variation in the monster lineup. So the 3 Archfiend, staple basic, 3 Necromancer basic. I personally decided to go with the Avenger build with a 100 eyes loop. I just think it's more consistent than the Infernity Beetle. Beetle always clogs your hand and stuff like that, so. And I think level 8s, pushing up level 8s are far more superior than level 9s and level 5s and level 6s with the Beetle route. 1 Mirage, you never did more than 1. You run 1, you can never draw 2 in your hand, which is the most devastating draw you can get with this deck, so. It's 1 Mirage. And it's more than enough. You'll never find yourself, I never found myself needing more than 1. 1 General. Only 1, not 2, not 3, just 1. Alright, 3 Griffer. Alright. The 3 Griffer is just for consistency issues with General, because you need to get this out of your hand immediately. I mean, it's imperative you get it out of your hand as fast as possible. So no Armageddon Knight, because you don't want to have hands like, Armageddon Knight, General, Archfiend, stuff like that. So just to erase that whole scenario. So you send 3 Griffers, so you always have a Griffer as a discard outlet for your General. And 1 Super Patrol, special summon Archfiend or Necromancer or even Avenger sometimes, depending on the situation. But generally using the special summon Archfiend. And you're only 1, you never need more than 1 either. I mean, it's fine at 1. That's a 14 monster lineup, so yeah. Spells, Launcher, I don't have to explain that. I mean, it's Launcher. Reborn, same thing. Alright, Zero Max. Don't run Canada Haunted because 1, it's kind of slow, and 2, most of the times it will clog your back row. I mean, because when you're Canada Haunted, more often than not, you'll sync with the monster, which Canada Haunted will just stay there on the field. And you need the room to set your spells and your barriers and your breaks and stuff like that, so Call Hunter can clog your back row. It has clogged the back row, so Zero Max instead. Zero Max is a very powerful card, but even more so with Infernity General, because if you Zero Max as General, most of the times that would be a board wipe. I mean, if you think about wind-ups, the only monster in that deck, main deck, extra deck combined, that can survive a Zero Max and Infernity General is Acid Golem. If they run it in the extra deck, Acid Golem is the only monster in that whole deck that can survive Zero Max and the General combo. And as you know, Zero Max, when you special summon a monster General Zero Max, they can't bottomless it, and Stardust Dragon can't negate this, and they can't torrential, nothing like that, because what happens is when Zero Max resolves, an effect is applied immediately after the monster is special summon to destroy all the monsters on the field, so they miss timing because the summon was not the last thing to happen. It also means that Archie misses timing if you summon him with Zero Max, because the last thing to happen will not be summon, it will be the destruction effect of Zero Max. So that's unfortunate, but you can't have it all. So generally you can use Zero Max to revive Necromancer, or General for the board, for just to destroy your opponent's field, or tune if you need it, anything like that. So by the way, Zero Max destroys monsters on the field, your field and your opponent's field, whose attack is lower than the monster special summoned. So if you bring back a Necromancer, it won't kill anything, it won't kill your own monsters, or bring back Avenger, it won't kill your own monsters. So yeah. Foolish Burial, just standard dumping engine. Go to the search out your 3 Griffers, one of your 3 Griffers. 3 MST back row here, 2 Fiendish Chain. It's mostly just a slow your opponent down, because this deck can sometimes, have a little trouble starting up. Because it's not as fast as the other meta decks out there, so you will need some time to set up if you don't get like a good, really good hand. So finishing just there, just slow down your opponent and negate things like Thunder King, so it won't stop your searches, and just slow your opponent down. Don't take too much damage in the process while I get a combo set up. 3 Inferno. Basically the same reason as 3 Griffer. You need to get General out of your hand like immediately. You don't want to ever have him in your hand for too long. So yeah, 3 Inferno, just so it's a trap. It's slow, but at the same time it's the most consistent form of graveyard setup the deck has in its arsenal. So I mean, the deck is not fast anyway, so I mean, if you have to take a turn to set up, I mean, so be it. I mean, that's just how the deck is. You just have to set up. So, and this card does it most consistently, so it gets a graveyard set up immediately. So I think it's a necessity at 3, especially if you're running general. It's kind of neat to draw it open with a this or a Griffer just to get the general, 3 barrier, yeah, 3 break. Okay, the 3 Infinity break. I think this card is kind of necessary right now because it does one thing that it basically breaks up opponents' plays. I mean, that's what it's there for, break up plays. So when they try to combo out, they can just destroy a card, to break up the combos. And 3, I think is the right number right now because as the only difficulty you'll have with this card is activating the first one. Because after you activate the first one facilitates the other. So if you break something, if you activate one break is not a target, for the activation cost for the other break. So the first one, from activate the first one, you should have no problem activating the other 2. And there's a 1 card out, 1-for-1 trade for your opponent. Or +1 if you kill an XE, but yeah, so 3 breaks, just to break up the plays and more Archfiend searches, because you will run out of barriers, and sometimes barriers not the best card to go for in certain situations. Sometimes you just need Infernity breaks to just destroy. 3 compos, just to get a 9 XYZs and break up plays again to give you time to set up and to further dominate your field presence. And the fields are compulsory. Because I mean, Infernity generally don't worry about any monster you have on the field. This deck can probably kill it. You can probably kill that monster. They never really had a problem with monsters unless it's a control monster like Thunder King and Steel Sword Roach. But generally, this deck can wipe almost any monster out of the field. So a lot of get the combo off. So it's a compulsory and warning judgment. Alright, when you're running this deck with general, you also have to be conscious that he's in your deck. So I mean, if you open up, like for argument's sake, Necromancer, or if you open Necromancer and Street Patrol, and you have an Inferno, while it might sound like a good idea to Inferno and dump you're missing pieces like the Archfiend and Avenger, you also have to be conscious that general is in your deck, so you don't want to top deck him and don't have an out for it, or an outlet to discard him. So unless you have a Griffer in your hand as well, or another Inferno, you don't really want to send anything else. You have to send him first almost all the time. It changes the playstyle a bit because you always have to dump him first. Unless you have another way of getting him out, but you don't want to top deck him because that would automatically mean it'll almost guarantee a loss. So you just have to play smart when you're using general. You just can't just empty your hand and then if you top deck him you just lose. So you just have to play smart with him. As I can say, I don't run Dark Hole and don't run Heavy Storm. In my case with this deck, I mean, a lot of times I have Dark Hole just set in the back row, can't really use it. It's just there. Just on the off chance that them actually clear my field and Dark Hole's there for recovery. But generally, there will be times when you actually think you need Dark Hole, because those situations always come where you want to draw Dark Hole, but most times than not, in my experience with the deck at least, my personal experience, Dark Hole was just there. It's like most of the time it's a 1-for-1 trade, because you either use it early, and if it's too late, you already have field presence, it's useless. So you have to draw it early, you have to draw it like turn 1, turn 2, so just use it prematurely just so you can combo off. So And heavy sand the same thing. I mean, you have to dry it early to utilize it efficiently. Because the later you dry it, because you use a lot of back row. So the later you dry it, the more useless it becomes. So, and as you open with it, it won't be that useful. So I just decided to just don't mean it and just side them instead. But Infernity General, I think he adds a lot of options to the deck. Even though it requires more setup, but because you have him in your graveyard, and even your opponent stops, your main play. If you summon out, try to combo off and disrupt it in any way, like the one in your monster or anything like that, you can just general banish and bring them back and just start again. So I just like the options that he provides. Because Infernity, when you after you combo off and you become handless, the deck only becomes as good as the top decks. So that's another reason why I have Zero Max there, because a better top deck than Call of the Haunted. Infernity Break is a good top deck. So it's just little things like that where the deck shine. Because if you have General in the graveyard and you have a Necromancer and you have the Avenger, you can top deck a Stygian or a Griffer and you can summon it and then banish him, bring these two back and you have a level 8 right there. So this thing just plays like that. He makes use of dead Griffers or you top deck a Stygian Sea Patrol. So you banish him, bring these two back and summon your Griffer and you have a level 8 on the field right there to make a Void Ogre, Doom Dragon, Scrap Dragon. So that's the utility that he provides while it's in your graveyard. So you don't want to burn him if you can't do anything with the monsters. So, and if anything, a lot of times when you loop out, if you 100 and remove your Mirage and you summon your Necromancer and your Archfiend and you search your barrier or your break, sometimes you don't want to pull back at Avenger and tune to level 8, you can just pull General back another 2700 to protect your barrier, because Archfiend can be run over. So I mean, General protects your barrier better than Archfiend as well. So and pretty much if you have a feel of General, Void Ogre and Necromancer on the field with 2 bars and 2 breaks, I mean chances are that's over. That's 3 negations and 2 destructions. So needless to say that that will end in your favor. So yeah, I mean that's it for the main deck. The extra deck, I don't think I have to go for the extra deck. Extra deck is pretty basic. I mean, just have one of these Levier. He's really good. You can have one of the, well, it's not staple, but let's go to the staples. One of these and arm 200 eyes, 1 Void Ogre. Though see myself so many more than one of these. It's always one is enough. 1 Doom Dragon, Stardust. You hardly bring this card out, but I mean it's a nice option. So, and Scrap Dragon, Mistworm. I mean, just as long as you have these, and Lava Vault Chain when he comes out. So yeah, I mean the extra deck is pretty standard. I mean, pretty basic. So yeah, I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else to say. I mean the deck is pretty explosive when it gets off. One of the most explosive decks in the game. So, and the control it has afterwards is just ridiculous. I mean, when wind-ups loop, they have a hope that so them have like warnings and stuff to back it up. But Infernity search out the bars and search out the breaks. So the control them have after after them explode is just ridiculously overwhelming. So that's what made the deck shine. So yeah, that's Infernity's featuring Infernity General, and yeah.